I am truly honored to be here and to introduce to you one of my favorite poets, Susan Pelletier. Susan is a Lewiston native, but we have to adopt a much wider vision in order to talk about her roots. Her family comes originally from Poitou in France, and members of her father's family traveled across the Atlantic in the early 1600s to settle in Acadie, which is today present-day Nova Scotia. As some of you may know, when France lost large parts of Canada to the British, the Acadians were expulsed from Nova Scotia, and Susan's family ancestors made their way to northern Maine in the St. John Valley. Later, her father, at the age of 5, came with his family to Lewiston, Maine, to settle. Her mother's family came from France at a later date in the 19th century and first settled in Quebec. Around the turn of the century, they joined the massive waves of Franco-Canadians coming to Lewiston to settle in the mill town of Lewiston and Auburn. Susan began writing poems when she was 11 years old. Her work gives voice to her deep connections to family and place in Franco-America, as well as her vision of social justice and dignity at home and beyond our borders. Her articles and poems have been published here and abroad in anthologies, literary journals, chapbooks, and political and environmental magazines. Susan has worked as a journalist, editorial consultant, market gardener, college instructor, and co-editor of a progressive monthly. She finds great pleasure sharing with young people her love of poetry and offering creative writing workshops. A pacifist, Susan is committed to nonviolent social change and has been an activist since her teens in the late 1960s. She's a board member and volunteer for Maine People's Alliance and currently serves on the statewide Housing and Worker Justice Committee, Campaign Vote Media Team, and the Racial Justice Strategy Committee. This year, Maine People's Alliance has taken a lead role among Maine organizations in bringing racial justice issues to the forefront of all of its work and offering trainings to other groups. A longtime advocate of local and sustainable organic food systems, Susan and her family participate in a Maine Products Food Cooperative, community-supported agriculture, and also grow and preserve their own organic vegetables, fruit, and herbs. By year's end, Susan hopes to complete a book-length collection of her poems, What We Gather, in November. I always make sure to include Susan's poetry in my own courses on French in Maine, the Franco-Americans of Maine. Not only because her work is finely crafted and enormously beautiful, but because the values that she brings to everything that she does give us a vision that is much broader than simply the local community, although that's where it is rooted. I am now honored to present to you Susan Pelletier.